Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are going to be starting our week 3 information. Before I get started with the lecture video, I had a couple of students that have been having a few issues with submitting certain items, and it may be a technical error that's on Canvas's part because they were assignments that I didn't have any kind of file restrictions on whenever you go into the assignment folder. So one thing I just wanted to go over real briefly, because I don't think I really touched base on this whenever I did the introductory video at the very beginning of class. But if you ever have a situation where something won't submit, or you have an issue with, like a file upload or something like that, and if it's something that I can't particularly help you with, just because on the technical side with Canvas, that's not going to necessarily be something that I can do, I did want to point out over here, when you're in Canvas, it's not a part of our actual classroom, but when you're in Canvas and you can see this toolbar here where you see everything from like your dashboard, groups, calendar, all of this. If you go down here to the help button that's on the Canvas screen, I'm going to go ahead and click on it just so you can kind of see. You're going to see a pop-up here, and you can actually get online and do an online chat with Canvas support. They're very, very quick. If it's an urgent issue, like if it's a Sunday night and you're trying to submit something and for whatever reason a file won't upload, or you're getting some kind of error message, just come over here and you can actually do the chat with Canvas support for the students. I've used this a lot, especially when we first started using Canvas a couple of years ago, and when we were setting things up and there was all kinds of issues, I would get on the chat support with Canvas, and they're really good. And if you just go ahead and click on that, it's going to ask for your name, and then it's going to basically ask whether your situation is urgent, or if it's something that if you're a couple of days ahead of having to turn something in by a due date, you don't necessarily need them right that very second. You can choose whatever option you want, but you basically type a message to them telling them what the problem is, what it is that you're trying to do, and usually they get online with you within a matter of a couple of minutes. So I just wanted to point this out, that if you're ever having a technical issue with Canvas, or something will not upload, or some kind of issue is going on, please use this Canvas support, because the chat function is really cool, because you don't necessarily have to talk to somebody on the phone if you don't really want to do that, but you can chat with them online basically. And they've been able to help me with just about anything that I've ever had questions on with Canvas, if something wasn't working and whatnot. So I just wanted to point that out really quick, just so you know going forward that if you have some kind of technical issue, you can definitely use this help button down here and do chat support with Canvas, because they're going to know a lot more technical stuff than I'm going to know. So if it's something that if I'm emailing with you and I feel like I can't really help you further with it, definitely try to get on there with the help function on Canvas. So from that, let's just go ahead and kind of dive into week 3. It's going to be an easy week compared to last week, because there were several assignments last week. And this week, there's only going to be a couple of assignments. The topic basically that we're going over is e-learning basics. Yes, you're in an online class right now, but for some of you, this may be the first online class you've ever taken. Some of you may be more accustomed to just doing face-to-face classes, and this is a whole new experience for you. But this section is not only kind of going over the differences, obviously, between e-learning and face-to-face learning. It goes over a little bit of the differences between the two and kind of the pros and cons of both. But it also goes over some tips and tricks on how to be more successful in online classes. So even if you are taking an online class and you normally wouldn't, but, going forward in the future, especially with the situation being the way it is, we have a pandemic going on, and a lot of times, there could be classes that, it's a normal face-to-face class that you want to take, but maybe the attendance, it's already full, and you end up having to take an online version of a course because that's all that's available to you. You want to kind of give yourself that opportunity to go, not to basically automatically say, I don't like learning online. I don't like that I don't get to see people, that I don't get to sit in a classroom. And it's good to kind of see the pros and cons and ways that you can still be successful in an online class, even if it's not your preferred method of attending a class. So that's basically the gist of a lot of the information that you're going to be reading about. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start with basically the readings here. Just like I said in the beginning, always read in the order. One thing that I would suggest that I also think I did not mention, at the beginning of class is that in an online class, especially if, depending on your learning style, if you're the type of person that likes to hear information better, and you learn better and retain better that way, there's some things that you can do that might make like the readings and things kind of stick better for you. And then if you're the type of person that is more hands-on, you like actually physically doing things as you're learning, and that's helpful. A couple of tips and tricks that I can just think of that they're very simple, but it might be something that would give you a little bit more help, especially since you have to do a lot of reading in this class in order to be able to do the assignments. If you are the type of person that prefers to hear information, it makes more sense to you, just try doing something simple like taking the reading it out loud. You can even record it as you're reading it out loud. And then that way, if you ever have to play it back to get some of the information you might have missed or you forgot, you can do that. And then if you are more the type of person that's kind of hands-on, one thing that I tell all students, whether you are hands-on or not, is as you're doing any reading, and this could be for any class, not just this one, if you're having to do a lot of reading, if it's a class that requires you to read, not only your textbook, but other, supplementary reading and things like that. If you're the type of person that tends to not remember all the information as you're reading through it, especially if it's a topic or a type of book that's not really particularly interesting to you, one good trick that you can do is actually, as you're doing the reading, jot down notes as you're reading, because it's physically letting you do something. It's kind of helping, and you actually will remember more information if you're actually writing down main points and then writing down any of the supplementary material that goes with those main points. So I just like to throw that out there. So if this class, since you do have to do a lot of reading, if that's something that it's hard for you to retain the information when it comes time to do your actual assignments, you might want to start just jotting down notes as you're going, taking down the main points. If you're watching any of the videos that are in the reading material, you can kind of even jot down notes about basically what the video is about, what kind of information you got from it. And I will say that this section that we're doing on e-learning basics, there are going to be some videos that are implemented into the reading. So please watch those as you're doing the reading. But basically, when we made this new resource where you don't have to have a textbook anymore, this is actually the chapter section that I wrote. So all of the material basically is my contribution to the new resource that you all are using. And then the couple of activities that we're doing are basically ones that I've been doing with my online classes for several years now. And so I implemented those into this actual resource that all of the college life and strategies professors are actually teaching this semester. So anyway, just do the reading in order, so that way it kind of progresses with the information that you're going to be learning about. And then when you get to the very first activity, it is one where you're going to practice online etiquette. So make sure that you read the online etiquette section first before you actually complete this assignment. Just pay close attention to the directions, especially if I say there needs to be a certain amount of sentences, or if you need to write a certain amount of paragraphs or anything like that. Please follow the directions and complete it in that way so you don't lose points for it. But the assignments are not terribly hard. They're just kind of going along with what it is that you're reading. We have a section for tips for success, which is just ways that you can be more successful in online classes. So if it is more difficult for you to take an online class, because it's not for everyone, but sometimes we have to take online classes even if we don't plan to or necessarily want to. That's a good section for you there. And then this section on websites and plagiarism, it's a very important topic because let's face it, most of us now no longer just physically go to the library, check out books. Like if we have to do research for a paper that we're writing or something like that, we don't really do that as much anymore. Sometimes we still do, but for the most part, what we do is we go online and we look up information so we can use that in, things that we're writing, research projects that we're doing, things like that. But you have to be careful with that because pretty much the internet is an open forum for just about anyone to be able to put whatever information they want to out there. And you have to be careful with what information you are choosing to use because especially in an academic setting, you have to use sources that are reliable, that are valid. You can't just take anything that you find on the internet and put that in your paper and expect that to necessarily be okay, because a lot of professors are expecting you to use reliable information that has good research behind it. So that way you are actually taking in and using good information in your own writing. So this section is really good, especially if maybe if writing is not your normal forte, where you feel really comfortable doing online research and finding good, reliable research materials. This is a good section that has some good information. It also has a link on it that I want to just point out, so that way you make sure that you're looking at that as you're going through. But this section on websites and plagiarism, it's got a lot of visuals and everything. And I do actually have some of the students that I've had in some of my previous classes that have basically written different kinds of quotes or things that they have basically from their experiences of being online students. And I've included a lot of that in a lot of the different readings for this section. But this one is actually from one of the professors at OU, and she teaches pretty much everything from journalism, ethics in journalism. And she basically contributed this little saying here just so that way, people are kind of aware of some of the issues that a lot of other professors find when students try to do research and they try to write papers. So you might want to read over that as well. But here on this link that's at the very bottom of the reading, it's got some good information. It's an APA tip sheet, which I want you to click on it. And if you can save it to your computer, to your tablet, whatever it is, or you may just tag it to your favorites or something like that. But I would hold on to this, especially if APA style writing is either not something that you've never done before or something that you're not super familiar with and you need a little extra help with it. Instead of getting an APA manual, which is not fun to go through and it's not fun to use when you have to write an actual APA style paper, this is a very condensed version that has a lot of the main good information that you need, so you know how to write your reference section in your paper, so that you know how to actually do in-text citation, which means any information that you take from any resource that you get off the internet, out of a book, out of a magazine, out of a journal, anything like that. It'll actually show you the ways that you have to basically give credit to the author. Whatever information you took that you're adding to your own work, it shows you the different ways, whether it's in your actual body of your text, how you have to basically give credit to the author in the body of your text, but also in the way that you have to reference that material that you took it from at the very end of your paper when you do an actual reference section. So if you're not too familiar with that, this is a really good tool that's very condensed, and it makes it a lot easier to be able to look through it and go, okay, this is how I have to actually cite this material. And the reason that you need to keep a hold of this is not only for this next assignment that you're going to have to do this week, but it's also going to be for your final paper that you're going to do at the end of class. You are going to be expected on some level to use some of these APA tools in your paper. So please keep a hold of that website when you click on it down there at the bottom of this section of websites and plagiarism. So let's go back real quick so we can go to that next assignment, and then we'll pretty much be done for this lecture. Not too much, but you're going to be doing an activity career research online. It's not a very long assignment that you have to do, but you do have to incorporate some of the referencing material and everything like that. So just keep in mind that link that I put at the bottom of websites and plagiarisms, because you're going to be able to use that for this assignment. Now, when you complete this career research online assignment, just be aware that if you already know what your major is, if you already know what profession you're planning to go into, that's great. You still need to look up information for it, and you still need to give me that information that I'm asking for here when you read over the directions. If you have not chosen a major, or if you're one of the college students, which I was one of them at the very beginning of my college career, that I wasn't really sure what exactly I wanted to go into. I kind of started college with just I'm going to get my basics out of the way and I'm going to figure it out as I go. And that's okay. But what you can do for this assignment, if you haven't actually chosen a major and you're not 100% positive what career field you're planning to go into, you can look at it from a viewpoint of, if there have been a couple of career fields that you've been interested in that you think sound interesting, just go ahead and use one of those. It doesn't necessarily have to be a major that you've already chosen. If if you're undecided and you need a little help with this, you can just look at a specific career field that maybe you've had interest in, and it's going to give you an opportunity to actually look up information for that career field so you can get a better idea of, what the pay would be, what the job availability is. Because usually if you look up certain resources on the internet, you'll actually be able to find whether that career field has a projected growth in the future. So over the next 10 years, maybe that career field is going to grow a lot. And so there's going to be more jobs available in that career field. And then sometimes you'll find that there will be career fields that it's actually shrinking, maybe because it's becoming more streamlined and not as many people are needed for that job. So it's really good information, whether it's a career that you already know you want to go into, or if it's one that you're just looking at from an interest point of view. To do this assignment, it's really good still, regardless, to look up this information and prepare yourself for all of the different details. And you're trying to basically find good details about this career field that you're planning to go into. And I do give you some information about what kind of things you need to be looking for, so you can give me those specifics whenever you write this paragraph for this assignment. And I do put on here as a tip to keep this assignment in mind whenever it comes time to actually write your final paper, because you can actually use the references, whatever information that you found online to help you write this paragraph. You can actually use some of those references in your final paper. So if you don't want to have to go look up information all over again, keep this assignment in mind, so that way you can refer back to it, so you can use some of those resources to get some of the information to supplement your final paper. So that is about it for this one. This one you can do as a text entry, or you can type it up in Microsoft Word if you prefer and upload it. And so that is about it for this week, and what the topic is, and just the 2 assignments that you have to do. Please let me know if you have any questions this week. It's pretty straightforward, so I don't suspect anyone's really going to have any questions. But if there's any other kind of issues or anything like that, please remember, if you're doing the health and wellness assignment, I know that some people have been having difficulties, whether it's because the device that they have is not recording minutes or something like that. But you need to figure out a way to either download a different app that's actually going to let you record your whatever exercise it is that you're doing for the health and wellness, where it's going to actually give you some kind of dashboard page that's going to show me a date, and it's going to show me that you did 30 minutes of physical activity. And this, I think some people might be confused. This is not saying 30 minutes over the span of the entire day. This is talking about doing a 30-minute workout, whether it's a 30-minute walk, 30 minutes on the elliptical, 30 minutes, doing the stair stepper, or whatever it is that, you prefer to do. It needs to be a 30-minute workout, not over the span of the entire day. Because some people are turning in a dashboard that shows me steps that they did throughout the whole day, and that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you doing an actual 30-minute workout, even if it's just once a week, so that way you can get the bonus points. So I'm trying to work with people, but there are some restrictions that I have to place on this, because I can't just give out bonus points willy-nilly. So please find an app or something that you'll be able to actually record the minutes, and you'll be able to actually take a snapshot of the minutes and the date. So that way I can verify that the date corresponds with the week that we're in. And also I can see that there was a 30-minute workout, whatever workout it is, that was actually recorded. So you may have to look around in the App Store or something like that to find a different kind of exercise app that will sync with your Fitbit, your watch, your whatever, or if it'll, basically sync with the health app that you might have on your iPhone or something like that. If it'll sync up with it, if you record that workout, it should show up on your health app, but you should also be able to see it on the actual app. So just check around the App Store, see if you can find a different app that will actually allow you to record your workout, so that way you can submit a screenshot of something that's acceptable, so I can give you the bonus points. Because at this point, I'm kind of expecting that is the information that I need to be able to see, so that way you can earn bonus points. So I'm sorry to be kind of restrictive on that, but it's the best way that I can verify basically that you did it within that week, and that you also completed an actual 30-minute workout, not the amount of steps that you did throughout the entire day or anything like that. So other than that, there's not really anything else that I can think of. Those were just a couple of things, the help center here in Canvas, if anybody needed help with a technical issue, and then just basically kind of going over that health and wellness, so that way people are submitting a screenshot that's actually going to be valid that I can use. So other than that, if you have questions, just go ahead and keep emailing me. And basically, that's all I can think of for this week. So I hope you all have a good week, and I will see you all next week. Now, in week 4 is when we're going to start the group projects, where you're basically going to be doing a recorded group project. It's a group presentation, actually, but the first week in week 4, when you're doing this, you're not actually going to have to worry about recording the presentation, but you are going to have to start getting together with your groups and start sharing the information so that way you can prepare to do the recording in week 5. You do need to log in next week. You need to log in early. You need to check into your group, even if you hate group work, even if you are mortified at the thought of having to do a group presentation where you're going to get recorded with your group. It is the one project or assignment in this class that you cannot make up for any kind of makeup points. So if you do not participate and if you do not log in early and start interacting with your groups, you're likely at that point, if you don't do that, you're going to get a 0 for this project and there's no way to make it up. So please do not ask, because I do not have a way for you to make up this project. It is a required part of this class that you have to do a presentation. So I will not allow it to be made up for any other kind of assignment because it is a required aspect for this class. So I just want to make you aware of that to prepare you for next week. So even if you hate group projects, it's still something that is a good, valuable tool, because let's face it, when you go into the workforce, there's not too many jobs nowadays where you're not going to have to work either on a team, or even if it's one-on-one with another person that you have to team up with to do projects or different things like that. And it's good to learn those skills now while you're in college and get more comfortable with it. So that way, when you actually go into the workforce, you're a little bit more comfortable doing group work or doing teamwork or anything like that that you may have to do in your career field. So just try not to be too scared of it. It's not that bad. The students that did it last semester for my summer semester, a lot of them were hesitant about it, but they ended up doing a really good job. It ended up working out really well. And I'm going to give you all the details about what you need to do for that next week. But I just want to prepare you for that so you know to log in early, find your group folder, and then get started with your group. So nobody's waiting around to at least be introduced to you so they know who you are and some information about you. All right, well, I'm going to stop talking now. So I will see you all next week.